Hey everyone, this is Teresa from Base 10 Montessori, and I wanted to give you an update on how my sensorial impression of syllables is going. I worked with this material this week with some of my students, and some of my students were reading. They were ready for reading, they were ready for the blending. Some of my students really needed to use this as a writing work or just a phonics work. So I played with it a little bit, and this is what I've come up with for this week. So for students who are really not ready to use this for blending, what I decided to do is, after they have the introduction with the sandpaper letters, we get out the letters that they know. Let's say these are the letters they know. And instead of trying to use this for a reading work, what we can do is kind of use this as more of the second period of the 3-period lesson. So for instance, one of my students I worked with today, I told that student, I'm going to make a sound and you can point to it. So for instance, I said, ah, and my student pointed to ah. And I said, well, what color is the ah? It's blue. So let's match it to the blue. And then I went on to a different sound and I said, what about Can you find There it is. All right, well, you can put in either of the pink boxes because it's pink. So the child can choose whichever pink box they want. And then I gave another sound, k, right there. And that was it. And that's the whole game, right? We don't necessarily need to go any further than that. If you wanted to start sounding it out, that's fine. But if you know that the child is not ready for that blending, not ready for reading, we just want to associate sound and manipulate it, I wouldn't go any farther than this, and I would have them take it back off, and then we can start the game again, right? So this time I would say, ah, t, k, and then the child could mix it up. And if they felt like they enjoyed this enough on their own that they didn't need me to make a sound for them, they can make their own sounds and match it up, right? Ah, k, t. And if the child is ready, they can go ahead and sound them out separately. T, ah, k. Do they have to blend them together? No, they don't have to blend them together. If you know that the student is not ready for that, if you think all they really need to do is make the sounds in association with the color, then I would say don't go any further than that. Let's say we wanted to use this as a little bit of a reduced movable alphabet. We can bring out a couple picture cards here and bring out a few more letters. And right here I have a cap. And we can always sound that out, right? K, k, ah, p. We can help the child sound that out. Say we spelled cap. Let's find the sounds in bag. Ready? B, 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 ah, g, b, ah, b, ah, g. Right there. So you can go a little further like this as well, right? Play with it, see what works in your classroom. That's kind of what I came up with this week. But most importantly, if you know that the child is not ready to use this as a blending work or as a reading work, let's just take it back a step, do some association games, associate the sound and the symbol, and just have them move it into the box and move it out of the box. The important thing to keep in mind is that if children are using this as a writing work, as a phonics work, we really want to focus on that sound-symbol relationship and just manipulating those sounds and getting some multi-sensory activities going with it. You could work with the child as a teacher, but you can also have children work together. If you have some children who are really great at phonics, some older children, and they can work with younger children, maybe an older child will get this out, and maybe the older child will say, find the k, and find the ah. Find the p. And maybe the older child will know, well, I don't think that's a word. But that's okay. They can make silly words, right? But the older child, if they want to read it, that's fine. But the younger child, let's just do sound games. Let's just do sound symbol association games. So this is how I felt the material worked best for me this week. If you have an adaptation of this idea, if you have a good idea that goes along with what I've come up with here, let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next video.